gentlemen, we have Bernard Aceituno, hope I'm pronouncing that correctly, co-founder of Stack AI. No pressure, last one on the docket today.
Thank you so much.
No pressure. There's never any pressure, Bernard.
Thank you, George. I appreciate it. Nice to meet you in person finally.
Finally, right.
By all means, beautiful.
So here we are, Bernard, on the sidelines of UNGA, and at the NASDAQ today.
Yeah.
And we've talked a lot about the issue that you are apparently working on, which is AI.
Very much, very much.
And I'd like to ask you, how is Stack AI transforming, well, let me go back. How is AI transforming enterprise operations? And tell us, because a lot of people are curious, how can AI tools be leveraged to solve complex global problems while at the same time, here's no pressure here, ensuring ethical and responsible implementation?
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. So you see in your wrist, we have the same thing. It's a Whoop.
The Whoop.
It's a device
Rory McIlroy.
Yeah, no, we are
an investor, right?
Absolutely, yes. Yeah. So we live a healthy life. So the Whoop is consistently collecting data from our hands and from our vitals, giving us numbers and statistics on, our different signals, heart rate, sleep quality, whatnot. And the kind of data that we work with this kind of device in general is what people call structured data, historicals, time series data, information that we always have collected over time. Historically, the computers and overall compute have managed to successfully interact and make analysis and insights from data that is well-structured, well-cleaned, well-organized. However, that's only about 10% of the data that exists in the digital world. 90% of the data that exists in the digital world is what we call unstructured data. Scans of documents, Word, Excel sheets, Word documents, notes of documents, audio recordings, videos, all sorts of, as we call it in our company, garbage that companies have. But unfortunately, most of the knowledge in the world exists there. Since the past decade, since 2010, we had a major revolution where, as AI researchers were able to create systems that could analyze and operate on this kind of data, unstructured data, eventually came to the point at the beginning of this decade where we could have systems like GPT and the likes that could generate text, could generate video, could generate images, which is what we call generative AI. Generative AI overall can now unlock a series of new operations where now automation can reach that 90% of the data in the world. Now we can work with documents and we can find information in them. We can search for the things that we care about. We could collect payments. We can have conversations. We can generate poems, etc. We can take AI outside of with the world of numbers and tables and put it into the real world. Thanks to that.
Tell me just a practical question.
Yeah.
How is that different from what we used to do with Google? Like we used to search, I'm searching for a restaurant in New York. Why is that different than?
Great question. Because what happened with Google is that what Google would do was that they will take all the information in the internet, they will map it into a way that is structured into what we call a graph, and then run a search over it. It wouldn't be AI in the sense that it's not like understanding what's under the information. It doesn't really extract things from what's on the website. It's just structuring the website into a way that is like searchable, and then it's trying to like traverse the web. And that's why many times you get things that, okay, they have the word you're searching for, but they don't really answer the question.
Right.
Because it doesn't really understand what you're looking for. Generative AI, on the contrary, does understand what you're looking for.
It does.
It does.
And what about agentic? We've heard about agentic.
Yeah. So
describe that in plain English.
Very good, very good. So, it's a great question. Imagine you have someone that is a copywriter. Basically you tell it what something to write, it writes it. You can just write stuff. Man, you tell it, okay, now write me a recipe and make me a sandwich. It will go and write your recipe for a sandwich, but it won't make you the sandwich. You can't do anything. If you give it the tool now to go to a kitchen and cook, take a pan, turn on the stove, take bread, toast it, put cheese, then the system is not just a copywriter. It can actually do stuff.
Create new ideas.
Yeah, it can take actions over the world. More simply, if I go to
thinking?
It is. The definition of thinking is complicated. When you say thinking, what you're asking is there a logical reasoning behind every step of what it's doing? Over the past year, there has been a big breakthrough in AI. Like they were able to embed a logical reasoning chain for every decision of a language model. That's where OpenAI GPT-5 now comes to the market, Cloud Opus 4. They're able to backtrace the logic they're following before they give an answer. That's the closest we can embed to thinking to a system like this. We humans do things that are much more complicated in our brain, But the point where AI is, we can understand why they make a decision and how they get to a conclusion. As they decide to, like, when you tell them, send me an email, they decide to open Gmail, write something, put a subject, and then send that email, you can see the trace of actions they took. And that's why now agents, or systems that can not only reason, but interact with its external systems now exist. What we do in Stack AI is that we have a software that helps enterprises build custom AI agents to automate internal back office operations. We're with banks, hospitals, large defense contractors, large government contractors, and civil engineering as well, in order to automate key manual workflows they will have in collections, payments, business development, compliance, and the likes.
So where do you see this going? You're sitting in a seat that's really unique because, as I like to tell people, and so many of you in the room have educated me on AI, that it's not coming, that it's already here. How far are we from that sentient thinking, from the ability of AI to go beyond agentic? What's the next level after agentic?
So agentic is more of a framework of AI.
Right.
And that what people want to go beyond agentic is not really towards actually adding more capabilities. AI today is as complete as it gets to achieve arbitrary tasks. The real next level of the next big leap is where we get to what people call artificial general intelligence. Meaning
so it's AGI.
AGI, artificial intelligence, AGI, which means a system that is able to, given a set of tools, perform a task at the same reliability that a human would. Given, let's say, I take an AI like ChatGPT, and I give it the ability to write emails, I give it the ability to collect payments, I give it the ability to write content, I give it the ability to respond to emails. I could tell her, become my content marketer, research the web every week, give me a nice post that is creative, is different we see, and then send me an email with it every Monday. If it could do that at the reliability that we have for a human, then we will have what we call AGI. And this is the example I do for marketing, but this will apply for anything. I could have an AI that is a financial analyst. I tell it, write me a model that forecasts the performance of the Google stock, giving it assumptions, and it could research information, find what it needs to do so. The same level of an analyst, then we will have what we call AGI. That's one level, at the level of performance of a human. The next unlock, and this is what people are actually concerned about, AGI, some people say we're quite close. I think that we are missing many steps together, but it's tangible how to get there. The part that is really concerning for many, it's ASI, artificial superintelligence, meaning intelligence that transcends the ability of a human. Meaning if I ask a system, go and figure out everything you can in order to break into this computer, it could, at a scale beyond what 100 humans could do, iterate with many algorithms, tries, different systems, create email scans, et cetera, in order to do so, to a level that is beyond the ability of an individual human. And that's where most concerns are. Nevertheless, it's also where most opportunity is. You could tell AI, okay, now run a bunch of experiments over these molecules in order to cure this disease. And it could do it at the scale beyond what a major university and state lab could do so, or just by itself. And that's quite promising for many fields, in medicine and in science especially.
Isn't that already somewhat happening?
It's happening to a small degree, but the problem is that AI language models, which are probably what most people use as AI today, they have essentially two limitations. First of all, the degree of accuracy at which they can reason, meaning if we all play with ChatGPT, we all have seen that at some point. After trying enough questions, we can always get him. We can always get it to make a mistake or skip something, and correct it. So a degree of accuracy it has. The second thing that they can work with is what we call context window, meaning how much text and how much they can memorize of a conversation. Language models, by being systems that live inside of a GPU, they can only handle so much information. And once they cross that information, it just stops working. Maybe you have seen that, if you give ChatGPT a document that is way too large, like multiple thousands of pages, it just doesn't work. Tells you this is too much text, I cannot work with this. So in order for a language model to get to the proper superintelligence level, it must be, first of all, very accurate, and second of all, be able to work with a very vast amounts of data, way beyond what we can do with existing GPUs and existing compute. That's why projects like Stargate are so important, because it allows us to take this technology to the next level beyond the physical barriers we have today.
And so what do you see the world looking like? I won't go to 2030 because that's too far, just in a year or two.
A year or two.
How different are things going to be?
So for sure, the underlying technology will continue improving at the same exponential rate. I have no doubt about it. It's the people working on it haven't even advertised on it, most of the things they have already developed. So the technology will keep improving and will becoming more accessible and, of course, more secure and more affordable. But more than the technology becoming more available, the biggest leap that I foresee is organizations and individuals understanding where to apply the technology. I think that over the past 3 years, there's been this kind of like promise of AI that has been very exciting. And those that have managed to leverage correctly have seen tremendous gains. But very few organizations have managed to do that. But if you manage to achieve tremendous gains with very little payroll, or the contrary, like take an exponentiated organization to where they are today. I think as the years come through and organizations find the specific places within an industry, within an organization where AI can be very impactful, this will be very transformational. The problem with Gen AI is that it's a very transformational software. In order to properly use AI, a company must be properly using cloud, first of all, which is already a hard conversation for many banks. Oh, you're not using cloud, okay. You must be using softwares that have open APIs. You must be using softwares that have systems that you can interpret code from, MCP servers, whatnot, and that's challenging for many organizations. So there will be blockers to get in there that transcend the abilities of the technology. They just rely on the infrastructure we have today. But towards getting to a point where those first few wins that really help the first batch of AI users and creators, we will see a time in the world where most organizations and people will be able to benefit from those.
Incredible. What's your final call to action based on what you're seeing in AI?
If you're working for an organization that is always asking, oh, what do I do with AI? What is AI good for? Book a call with us. Go to stack.ai and click on book a demo, and we'll help you figure it out. We'll help
figure it out.
Yeah, for sure.
Anyway, figure it out.
We'll help companies like Nubank, BAE Systems, LifeMD, YC Retirement, all over the globe to use this.
Well, are you bullish on the future? You think it's going to be positive?
Absolutely. I think we are underhyping the future.
Wow.
The best is yet to come.
Bernardo Aceituno, Stack AI.
Thank you.